Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to learn about resistance and support lines and how to plot them on a chart and therefore how to take a trade. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is pick almost anything that we can really trade. Anything that's chartable, you can probably use support and resistance lines because they generally obey certain levels. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin to the US dollar here. This is tradingview.com. You can use it for any of your charting needs if you really want. Then you can actually connect it to your broker. So first we're going to go over here and get a horizontal line. Then you're going to come down here and just kind of take a look on the chart where points on the graph are going to be relatively the same all the way across. And your whole objective here with plotting support and resistance lines is that you're going to want a line that touches the most points on the graph that you can possibly get it. Now you can't just cheat and be like, oh, okay, that touches a lot of lines right there. That should be right? Yo, wait, hold up. That's actually a line. But hold up. No, you don't want to just come in here and just plot as many points as possible like that. Like, that's not how that works. You want the highest and lowest points possible. Like right there. You have 1, 2, 3 touches and it obeys the line pretty well. Now this bottom one here is your support line, and down here would be your demand zone. And this one up here would be considered your resistance line because when the price action comes up to the line, it resists going over it. Then up here would be your supply zone. Now if there's any outliers, you can go ahead and plot those now. So an outlier here would be right here because it touches right here. Yes, the lines go over, but the lines do not close over this price. Resistance line right here would be less valuable than these other two lines just because, as we can see right here, when the price came through, it just flew right down through it. And usually you want it to breathe a moment, bounce off that line and then come back up, and then we can continue down if it really is that strong of a price action to the downside. So that's a basic story on how to plot support and resistance lines. You can use them on basically anything that you really want to use them on. Stocks, currencies, cryptocurrencies, honestly anything that you can chart like this, you're going to be able to put support and resistance lines on. Now, understand that support and resistance lines are not always obeyed. Sometimes they just get flown right through, and then it turns out that that's not an actual support or resistance line. You just have to be careful with them. They're not 100% accurate. And also, you want to be on the biggest time frame you can possibly be on. So if you're intraday trading, you probably want to be on a 15-minute time frame just to figure out your support and resistance lines, or you want to be on your daily time frame because your daily is your strongest time frame that you really have when you are day trading, swing trading, any of that. And the farther you go back in time, the less these lines are going to be obeyed. Like say you go back all the way to 2000 and you find one point that was obeyed 7 or 8 times, and then now you're trying to use it, it's probably not going to be as valuable as these lines will be on the daily chart right here. Now let's talk about how to trade off of these support and resistance lines. Now we didn't even know that these support and resistance lines really existed until the price action came down through them and then stopped at this one and this one together. But once we figured it out, we could have been able to plot these lines and then start taking trades probably either around here or around here. So say that you took your first trade here, realizing that these two lines were being obeyed. And of course, we never enter right at the bottom. I mean, you can, hopefully you get lucky enough too, but usually let's say you enter probably right around here and you're risking about a 1 to, what is that, probably about 4 just to get back up there. But say that you take the trade and it goes and you get your profit. That is exactly how you go ahead and day trade off of these lines. You take them at the bottom for a long and then you exit them at the top. This one actually kept going and we wouldn't realize this was a line yet right there. But you could sit and just sit back on our hands and watch. That's the best thing in trading to do, is just sit back on your hands and start watching, because you have no money in the market and no ability to lose any money in the market. Now, for example, let's say that we went ahead and took this trade right here because we realized that, hey, look at this is a resistance line that had came up and turned into a support line. So let's say that you take it right there, or even better, let's take it up here and say you were risking a 1 to about 3, and the price action comes and then it drops down. Well, you don't get out down here. You get out as soon as it breaks below that line, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. And then you see that the price action comes right back up and moves above and closes. So you take it right there for another long, risking about 1 to 3, and then boom, you take your profit right there. And then you would be able to take it here, take your profit up here, or if you wanted to, you could have shorted right here and rode it back down to this line. which is also another valuable play. So you can buy low and sell up high, and then sell up high and buy low. You can play it to both sides. That's what's good about the support and resistance strategy, is that you can play it to both sides pretty easily. Now, of course, remember that these lines are not always obeyed, and sometimes they'll just fly right through these lines. You never know. That's what trading is. It's a little bit risky. You got to be able to stomach the risk. So if you're not ready for it, maybe you're not ready to day trade. But that's the great thing about support and resistance lines and support and resistance strategy. You don't have to have this on just a daily time frame, and you don't have to use this only when day trading. You can use this when you swing trade. You can use this when you are a long-term investor, just to plot your entries, just to make sure you're getting a good entry and you're not going to end up immediately flying through some line that's going to take you all the way back to the Stone Age with your long-term investments. So that's one reason why I like support and resistance strategy, to be able to trade and just to be able to use it to your utmost advantage.